All 3 people on board were killed, and as investigators continue to look into the cause of a small plane crash in Bermuda Dunes yesterday, surprising and
spoke about the impact that the pyramid scheme probe has had on him and on the college.
To see this institution and its fine reputation denigrated because of allegations of impropriety in my private conduct is painful to me and runs contrary to all I have worked for since joining a district as its chief executive.
George also took a moment to thank trustees who have endured the investigation into his alleged participation in pyramid activities.
I appreciate the support the board has given me during this difficult time, as well as my 10 years at the college and professional manner in which they've represented this college.
Trustees voted to give Dr. George the right to return to the faculty in the fall of 1996. After some preparation time, the educator will come back into the classroom in the fall of 1997.
When you worked with a person as long as we have with Dr. George, it's a very sad occasion when we have to break a relationship, but his comments are his, and the way he read that I thought was just tremendous. I got to commend him for that.
Fact, College administrators are also feeling very emotional about Dr. George's decision to step down.
I have ambivalent feelings. Basically, in my opinion, Dave George has done a very good job in many, many ways. However, since this has happened, and now we're ready to go ahead and go forward to make the school the kind of a school that we want here for the students.
Those who represent the faculty, staff members, and students say Dr. George's resignation will begin a much-needed healing process on the Palm Desert campus.
I think it basically allows us to get on track, get back to what we do, which is our mission is to educate. And I think this gives us the opportunity now to refocus our energies on the reason why we're here.
The last year has brought a lot of dissension among the college community. And our job as faculty is to basically to tend to the academic needs of our students, and I think that's where we need to be headed in the future.
Students who heard the news in the administration building lobby were sad, but also expressed relief that a decision was finally made.
I'm really very sorry to hear about it. He was a very good administrator and a very kind person to the students the few times that I did get to meet him.
And for the college's number 2 man, Executive Dean Dr. William Cronin, the announcement by his boss will hopefully close the most painful chapter in the college's history.
This action will enable us to get on with the work of the college, which I must say has been ongoing during the past months in any event, but it will also give Dr. George an opportunity to explore other things. I know that we all wish him well as he gets on with his professional life, too.
Phil Blauer, TV3 News.
Also tonight, we're learning just how far-reaching the pyramid scheme was on the College of the Desert campus. An investigation reveals many of the school's employees were involved. Prepared by attorney Mary Dow at the request of College Board of Trustees President Vernita McDonald concludes that at least 20 district employees were involved in the pyramid schemes. The report finds that the schemes first showed up in the Valley last summer, with various members of the college staff getting involved and attending meetings held at hotels and country clubs. The investigation also finds that it was several college employees who began to question the legality of the games early this year and contacted authorities. That sparked the district attorney's investigation, and in March, search warrants were served at College President Dr. David George's home and the school. Raising this question, were computers seized by the district attorney's office used in the schemes? The report says it hasn't been possible to answer that question. It does conclude that there's no evidence of a system-wide communication. The report says district employees were involved in both $2,000 pyramid games and $100 pyramids. The attorney believes employees were in fact asked to join by those involved in the schemes. She also concludes that the solicitations happened on college time. The report doesn't name Dr. David George as a player, but all names have been omitted in the version obtained by TV3 News. On the ongoing criminal investigation, the report tells us 10 district employees were subpoenaed for grand jury testimony in May. And finally, the report concludes that district funds weren't used in the pyramid schemes. The report doesn't make any should or should not of those involved.
George worked on college business during the half-hour proceeding. George resigned his position effective August 16th, is on paid leave, and will return to teaching in the fall of 1997.
Dr. George has been anxious to see this protracted matter come to an end, as are we. I've asked him not to give statements. We think that there's been a considerable
amount of pretrial publicity, which is inappropriate because of the continued release of statements by the district attorney's office.
It was an emotional time for Desert Sands School Board trustee Matt Monica and his wife Mary Ann. Early on, Matt Monica said he participated in the pyramid scheme and was censured by board members because of it.
They're doing fine. They're holding up well. They have faith in the system, and they want their story told. It will be told, and let the chips fall where they may.
Two other defendants, Diana Hodgkins and Kathleen Rector, appeared relaxed and at ease during the session. The women who worked as concierges at the Marriott Desert Springs Resort are believed by authorities to be responsible for bringing the chain from Cherry Valley to the desert.
She's a tough lady. She works in a prominent position, and her employer is very supportive, from what I understand. I think these ladies are terrific ladies, holding up extremely well.
The defendants will appear at a trial readiness conference in Indio on July 31st. Defense attorneys say they were glad the cases were transferred to the lower desert, but the lead prosecutor says even though he would have rather had the trials at Riverside, he's confident in the evidence against the defendants he'll be presenting to a Valley jury. So you're going to go for felony convictions in this case?
I can't comment on our ultimate intent because, frankly, it would be inappropriate for me to do so. I can tell you that the grand jury indicted all 9 defendants in this case and accused them of having committed a felony.
All 8 defendants were booked and fingerprinted at the Riverside County Jail and released. The DA also says he expects at least one more major indictment to be announced in the very near future. Now, the grand jury transcripts pertaining to the investigation were ordered sealed today until the July 31st trial date.
And meanwhile, the Ninth Valley resident indicted on 1 count of operating an illegal pyramid scheme, Rancho Mirage resident Mariana Dorson, was a no-show at today's arraignment. As TV3's John Hertz reports, a bench warrant was issued for her arrest but put on hold until tomorrow.
Just about everything went according to plan Tuesday, with the accused entering not guilty pleas. But one of those who may have made investing in the illegal scheme her full-time job, Mariana Dorson, was nowhere to be found.
I haven't seen her, no.
In fact, prosecutor Ed Kotkin found out that while his investigator in the case, Gene Gilbert, did in fact contact Dorson's attorney, Stephen Harmon, somehow the message didn't get to his client that she was due in court.
Ms. Dorson, according to the representation of that attorney made to me today, never received word of these proceedings. That being the case, I don't have any problem, based on his comments, in trailing her arraignment until tomorrow.
Kotkin says that while it's unfortunate Dorson was a no-show, it's not uncommon for there to be miscommunication when so many defendants are involved in a case.
What happened in court regarding Ms. Dorson is not unusual when you're dealing with a multi-defendant case such as this, where communication inevitably will break down between attorneys.
It was probably just some miscommunication. It happens from time to time. I'm a little bit surprised, but it hasn't put a kink in the works.
Efforts to contact Dorson at her Rancho Mirage home went unanswered, as did a message left on her answering machine. Judge J. Thompson Hanks issued a bench warrant for Dorson's arrest, but put it on hold until tomorrow. Her bail has been set at $10,000. Dorson's attorney entered a not guilty plea on her behalf Tuesday. She's due to appear before Thompson Wednesday morning. John Hertz, TV3 News, Riverside.
Each of the defendants could face up to 3 years in prison for their involvement in the pyramid scheme. Of course, we will have the latest on the indictment of Mariana Dorson tomorrow on TV3 News at midday, 5 and 6.
Administrative leave. Brown, who was also on paid leave, resigned on June 19th.
She's one of these very productive people who was indicted rather than given a letter. And why this happened, I guess you'll have to ask the DA, but it happened, so here we are.